The media is full of stories about how difficult it is to get ahead. Crippling student loan debt, jobs forever moving overseas, and the widening wealth gap constantly make headlines. It shouldn't surprise any of us to learn that over 69% of American households have less than $1,000 in savings. What this means is over 2/3 of us don't have savings on hand to handle one financial emergency, one small financial emergency. So let's think about this. If you and your neighbors on either side got hit with a windstorm and found a tree leaning over, threatening to crush your homes, 2 out of 3 of us would not be able to pay to have that tree removed. 2 out of 3 of us don't have cash on hand to pay for minor medical tests or the deductible on a little fender bender. But what if I was to tell you 8 words could make you 1 out of 3 who has this covered? Would your life be a bit less stressful? Would you sleep better at night knowing you had a safety net to protect you from life's unexpected expenses? So when I started my CPA firm over 20 years ago, I was so excited to be able to work with small businesses, helping them grow and build their business. As a small business owner myself, I understood how difficult it was to build a successful business. But why did one business grow and succeed when others struggled to barely meet payroll? There didn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for the differences. In fact, some businesses that started with a lot of startup capital and highly educated owners failed faster than others that bootstrapped from nothing and whose owners didn't even consider going to college. Same thing with my individual clients. A college degree and a high-end address had very little to do with whether or not they were financially successful. What made the big difference? It really is. It took me probably at least 10 years, I hate to admit this, to finally see the pattern. And it really wasn't until we had some really bad years that I started to see the big differences. After we had a couple bad years, my clients would come in and we'd talk about what happened. 2 out of 3 of them would start telling me about all the things that went wrong that were out of their control. Either equipment failed unexpectedly, employees lost their best customers, or gremlins took off with their inventory. Yeah. So now I'd have a different discussion with that third client, and most often they would come in and tell me what they did wrong last year to cause the loss. If they didn't know, they'd ask me to sit down with them and deep dive into their numbers and help them figure out what they could do the next year to make things better. And most often, next year was better. And the year after that, even better yet. So the difference between people who are financially successful and those who struggle constantly is really one thing. They understand it all rests with them. They are personally responsible for their financial success. So the 8 little words that make a difference for you and your financial success are, it's my responsibility and I can fix it. Now, understanding it's our responsibility and knowing we can fix it, that's the first step. The how to fix it, that can be much harder. See, human nature fights against us. We really are resistant to change and also subject to succumbing to short-term gratification. So logically, we can tell ourselves, cutting back on one fancy coffee each week, saving $5, that's $260 per year. What can you do with an extra $260? But the smell and taste of my grande hot coconut milk caramel macchiato, it's really hard for me to resist. I envy those of you who are natural savers. Me, I have to work at it. So I've developed a few tricks to make things a little easier. My first actually weapon in the battle for a strong financial future is this: deliberate brainwashing. So what I do is I find something I want way more than that caramel macchiato. I know, there are things, I promise. So for right now, I'm saving for my daughter's wedding. One time, life expense thing for her, I'm so excited. For you, it may be a fishing trip, or a jet ski, or a trip to Disneyland. Whatever that thing is, you have to want it badly. And you have to be able to save for it and make it happen in the next 6 to 18 months. Not something 5 to 10 years from now, 6 to 18 months. That's important. Now, next, it's time for the brainwashing. The first thing you want to do is go through the motions of making that thing a reality. Plan the purchase, take all the steps like you're going to take that trip, except pushing by now. Take a picture of your goal and put it in front of you all the time. Put it on your mirror when you get ready in the morning. Or change the background on your phone to a picture of your goal. Perhaps you'll even take a picture and put it on the dash on your car or your cubicle at work. Whatever it is for you to keep that goal in front of you all the time. Next comes really kind of the hard part, not so much fun. You need to take a hard look at your spending, Figure out, the first thing, I know all of us pay for subscriptions we sometimes don't use or don't want anymore, so cancel those. Then take a hard look at each one of your monthly expenses and say, can I cut back on those? Is there anything else that I can replace or don't need? But also take a really hard look at your big expenses. So many of us don't think about your rent or your mortgage. Should you get a roommate? Or perhaps even move someplace cheaper? It's a lot easier when you have that goal right out in front of you. Enlist your coworkers in helping you to achieve your goals. In my office, we painted one of our walls with chalkboard paint, and we all wrote our goal on the wall. It was the wall right inside the door when we came to work. So we had a reminder every day, every morning, and every evening. The best thing about this is we not only saw our own goals, but our coworkers too, so we could motivate and encourage each other. At the end of that first year, we checked in with our team, and every one of us had achieved our goal. Don't be afraid to enlist your friends and family in helping achieve those goals also. Instead of going out every Saturday night, suggest taking turns having pizza night at home. And when you go to the store, make sure you have a list and only buy what's on your list. Now, this is a good trick. A friend of mine taught me. When you see something that you want or need at the store, take a picture. Go home, think about it, and only buy it if you want it bad enough to go back to the store the next day. When you get close to achieving that goal, take some time to start thinking about your next goal. Accomplishing this first goal is just the first step. We have a lifetime of bad money habits behind us. And it's too easy to slip back into those bad habits. But when you finally do save up enough to pay cash for that first goal, celebrate. So many of us just charge what we want. And we end up paying 3 times as much over time on a credit card. Now, the scary part of this is the average American spends over $279,000 in interest expense over their lifetimes. I don't know about you, but I can think of a lot of better things I can do with $279,000. So now, the one thing that happens when you start using these short-term goals to change your money habits is saving starts to become a habit. You can start not just saving for that one goal, but finding a bit extra. First, for that safety net to bulletproof yourself and your family from those life's unexpected expenses. Next, you find that you can start saving a little bit for later. Humans in general are all about living for now and short-term gratification. But putting off saving for retirement, that could be your worst financial mistake ever. Let's pretend we're all 22 again. We just got out of college, but, job market's tight. The only job you can find right now pays $13.50 an hour. For those of you that don't know, that's minimum wage here in Washington State. But since you just got out of college, you haven't committed yourself to a lot of those monthly expenses so many of us have. So you make the decision to save the recommended 10% for retirement from day one. Now, it works out to be about $2,700 per year or $225 per month. Now let's pretend that you do not get one raise your entire working career. When you get ready to retire, you will have saved over $500,000. This is assuming you earn at least 5.3%, which is under the S&P 500 average for those of you who are concerned about that. So $500,000, that's almost $500,000 when you retire, when you're 45 years later. Now, what that means is you and your spouse together could retire as millionaires, saving 10% from your minimum wage jobs. The thing I love most about using short-term money habits to change your financial future is not just the short-term savings. It's the power and control you get back when you understand that you have the power to change your financial future. A note, the average or the median savings at retirement right now, for those of you who actually you're probably horrified at this, is $17,000. So when you talk about saving from our jobs, would you rather have $17,000 or over $500,000 each when you retire? But I don't want you to freak out too much if you missed the boat when you were 22, because I did too. You can still catch up. You just have to save more than $225 per month. The longer you wait to start saving, the more you have to save each month for you to catch up later. I focus my career on helping people increase their cash flow, not because of the increase to the bottom line, but because doing this allows us all to focus more of our resources on things that are important to our family instead of the things that don't matter. Remember, it's your responsibility and your choice what you do with your finances. I know that not all of us have people around us that understand or believe that that's the case, but I want you to know I believe in you. And especially right now, I want you to understand that you can take the power back. So many things seem out of our control. You have the power to change your financial future. And the one thing I do know is life is so much more fun when you decide to have more of your life be because of you instead of to you. Remember, your financial success, it's your responsibility, and you can fix it or not. It's your choice. Thank you.